Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, guys, if you're watching this video at the time of the recording, I have a huge sale on my sim racing course. It's Black Friday. Go check it out on gitgudracing.com. Now going on the track guide itself, turn 1 is quite tricky. My reference here is, first of all, you need to know what part of the track you need to hit near the apex. So you really want to get this curb all the way like this. This will be key. So starting with this in mind, you have to trail brake a lot. Look at my shape of the trail brake right here. Notice that I initially press the brakes, not that hard, but I'm going up to 50%. But then in the trail braking shape, look that I'm still holding the brakes up until I get to the corner. And this is key. You don't want to brake here like an on-off switch. You really want to hold the brakes up until the car points. So your goal right here in this corner will be to get over this anti-curbs right here. You want to put your tire on top of it because this won't unsettle the car. Yes, it will be a tiny bit trickier, but it won't be impossible, and you will gain a lot of time because first of all you're shortening the distance. You're cutting here, you're shortening the distance, and you're gonna be able to carry more speed. Now in terms of the braking itself, the braking itself happens for me around the end of the red wall with Coca-Cola right here. So you see when the wall ends, the red part of the wall ends, this is where I'm applying the brakes. Super important though, you don't really want to brake all the way to straight line. So you don't want to make this corner like a sequence of 2. You don't want to split it, like you don't want to go straight and then turn. This won't be the quickest way, but initially when you're initially pressing the brakes, you want to stay still just for a brief second. It feels like blinking your eyes, like it's super quick, but then you're gonna steer more and more as you release the brakes. So as a rule of thumb, initially when you're going to the peak pressure, you will stay straight, but that happens so quickly that it almost feels like you're braking and turning at the same time. But still, you have to be gentle with your turning. You can spin the car or you can understeer if you get it wrong. Now in terms of your throttle input, you should go 0-100 really quick. If you see yourself in your throttle trace, look here, that you're going like up and down with the shape, that's not good. You want to be decisive, you want to go 0-100 as quickly as you can, don't modulate it too much, and on the exit, you can go all the way like this and still won't be an off track. So use all this space, because look how much time I'm gaining here. I gained 0.8 of a second, and in my previous best lap, I was using a tiny bit less the curb. So cutting on the inside and using all the curb on the outside gained me 0.8 of a second. It's crazy because my previous lap wasn't bad, right? My previous lap was quite quick as well, but I was using a tiny bit less the track. So this is what using all the track, like all the track really means. Now for this corner right here, my reference for braking here is basically I'm doing it on the feel. So whenever I'm getting close to this blue cone, I'm looking at the blue cone. Whenever I'm getting this close to it, I'm applying the brakes. I don't want to brake at the blue cone, it's gonna be too late, but at the same time I don't want to brake when the car is here and I can barely see the cone. Another reference for braking could be the moment that you straighten up the car, because look, at this point in time the car is straightened up because you're coming from this angle. When you're straightening up, you just wait a tiny bit more and then you will go brake and turn into this corner. Super important here to trail brake. You need to stay on the brakes in the lower percentages. So look what I'm doing. I'm holding like 15%, something like this. So very soft on the brakes, but still holding them, still holding them, still on the brakes, still on the brakes. And at this point in time, I push the throttle, and you don't want to go all the way on the green here. If you will go all the way on the green, because this car is quite quick, you won't have enough time to bring it back on the right side. So you will spin on this curb. It happened to me a lot of times. You want to use this red and white curb. That's the limit. If you have your left tires on the red and white, the ending of red and white, you're good. You don't need to use more than that. It won't gain you time because you're probably gonna slide around this curb. And if you don't slide, you will have to drop the throttle too much. So keep that in mind. This one is gonna be flat. The flow here is really good. I love these corners right here. This one as well. So my reference for braking will be the end of this concrete right here. When that concrete ends, I just sorry, this one, the one in front, the last one, this exit concrete road on the left side. When this one, I'm approaching this one, I'm just turning into the corner, almost 100% brake, almost 100% throttle. I'm just barely touching the brakes. Look, 4%, 15%, and I'm just trail braking with these lower percentages. What I'm looking to aim here is this anti-curve with the green part. I don't get it perfectly here. I think there's like half a tenth more in this, maybe not half a tenth, but 0.03 for sure. If you get closer to this green curve, you will have a better line and you will gain time. So this will be your reference in terms of your apex. If you hit this part in the middle, that's gonna be perfect, because right now, because I miss it a tiny bit, the car gets a bit wider, and I have this moment right here where I just have to correct the car like this. And every time you're using the steering wheel, you're scrubbing speed. The car will have its highest speed when the steering wheel is dead straight. But when you add a bit of steering, even if it's a tiny bit, you'll scrub some speed. So obviously, whenever you're doing corrections like what I did here, like this, even though it's not much, it feels like it's barely happening, you're still scrubbing speed. Obviously, this will happen during the races, it's normal, but ideally, you want to keep it as smooth as possible. And if you can do something to smoothen out your steering input, that's instantly gonna gain you time. And in this corner for me, if I would have to be super critical with my corner, I should have gotten a bit closer to the apex, and that would have helped me to not run out of track, and then I would just keep my steering wheel straight, and I would have gained a tiny bit of speed. Because look, I'm losing 0.01, 0.02 because of this correction. So maybe even one more. You see 0.03. So that small correction, 0.03 lap time, and it adds up because it's 0.03 in this corner. If you do it 3-4 corners in a lap, then that's how you lose like 1.5 tenths. So keep it in mind. Now for this corner right here, I will tell you the challenge about this corner. I will tell you why this corner was quicker in this lap compared to my previous lap. The only thing that I did differently was to brake later and softer. You have to trust carrying more speed into this corner, more than you think. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you're a beginner or intermediate driver, you're for sure braking more than you need. But even if you're an advanced driver, because I thought I'm quite at the limit here, until I compare my telemetry with the fastest lap on this track ever recorded in Garage 61, and I saw that, okay, it's possible to carry more. So because I knew that it's possible to carry more, then I pushed myself to it, because it felt quite at the limit, but you know, you never know the actual limit up until you have the confidence to push. And when you know that it's possible, then you just naturally gonna try to push more. Even though you crash, you're gonna push more up until you get it right. And this happened for me here. So look what I'm doing with the brakes. First of all, I'm braking at the beginning of the wall here. So look, at this point in time, I'm applying the brakes slightly before this red color of the wall. And I'm not braking hard here. Look, I'm going to 84% pressure, and I'm dropping quite quickly, and at this point in time, even before touching the curb, I'm already back on throttle. So the key takeaway of this corner and how you can make it faster and faster, brake softer and go earlier on throttle. Just trust to do this. You will crash a bit, because if you cut too much here, the car will bounce. If you cut too much in the next curb, the car will bounce in a weird way and you will crash. But if you're gonna practice this, before racing, then this is what you have to do. This made a huge difference for me because look on the delta. Before the braking I was 0.09, right? And when I started the braking, just on the braking phase, I gained 0.9 of a second here, just by braking softer. And then when I'm pushing the power down a bit earlier, it's still the same, you see. So I was, even in my older lap, I was having a quite of a early throttle application. But the main difference for me here was the braking. I just braked a bit softer. So keep it in mind, in terms of cutting, you have to cut a lot. Look, I'm cutting this part right here, the car will bounce a bit, but now I'm instantly trying to straighten up my wheel and cut here again. I think you can get away with cutting a tiny bit more on the right curve, but it's so hard to find the limit there because it's literally inches. You're inches away from a crash every time in that corner. So obviously in a race take a bit of margin of an error, but just so you know that you can carry more speed, look on the exit here. I have all this curb that I'm not using. You see? So my car could have just washed it a little bit more on the left side, and then I would use my steering wheel a tiny bit more to bring on the track, and I would have gained maybe 0.05 more. So obviously if you cut more in the second curve, you're gonna be able to do that. So that's another improvement point for my lap. Now for this corner right here, I'm looking at this curb, the red and white, and I want to brake before it. So not a precise reference, but I'm braking all the time, like half car length distance away from the curb, braking in a straight line. Again, don't brake very hard, don't go to 100% pressure on the brakes. You will cook your tires, you will have less grip, and you will overslow the car. And if you're gonna brake way too late and hard, then the tires will just have, like the front tires will be really hot. If you're braking all the time super late and super hard, you will miss on the mid-corner phase. Like, think about a zero-sum game. You can't gain everywhere. Like, you can't push 105% on entry and still have 100% grip available on mid-corner and exit. You will go past the limit on the entry, but you will lose in the mid or in the exit. It's not possible to be really aggressive everywhere. So finding the limit sometimes means being a bit under the limit in one part of the corner, so you can be more at the limit in the other parts of the corner, if that makes sense. And with these tire temps, that's absolutely what's happening. So first of all, use all the track while going here. Cut as much as you can in this part of the curb. I could have cut even more, so you can go on the white and the white anti-curbs like I did here. Look how much I cut here in this part. What's important though is you have to be very early on gas. Look, at this point in time, I'm already back on throttle, and this is key. So already pushing the throttle, even though I can't fully commit, I keep my minimum speed up, and at this point in time I'm trying to commit. I'm cutting this curb as much as I can, some corrections here and then using all the track. Not ideal with the throttle trace, to be honest. I think the main issue here was that I did not cut enough in the first part of the chicane. I think the second part of the chicane was spot on with the track usage, but here you can cut more. So this was my mistake. Cut more than this, and this one is gonna be easier and you won't see as many throttle corrections. But hey, in a way it's a good thing that I'm showing some of the non-ideal things, since you can learn from it. And also for me, I don't have enough time to do a perfect lap, so it's win-win for everyone, I hope. Now for this corner right here, the braking reference is a bit tough. I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing it on feel. You can use the 100 meter board, but it will be past the 100. I'm looking at what I'm basically doing here. I'm trying to see this white line near the apex, and whenever I see it a bit more clearly, then I'm applying the brakes. I'm going to 100% brakes around here. I think you can get away with 90, not 100, but since it's a hairpin and it's no elevation change, going to 100, it's not bad. I think you can get away. I think you can get similar results with 90-95 pressure without using 100. So just having a bit less tire temps for the same stopping power. Now downshifting into this corner, stay in second gear and go as early as you can on the throttle, use all this part of the curb. This is quite an easy corner, so it's a straightforward hairpin, no elevation change. And now for this one, my reference for braking is this blue banner. Whenever I'm slightly under, where I'm exactly under the banner or the bridge, I'm applying the brakes here. I'm going into third gear. I'm trying to cut as much as I can. I can cut a tiny bit more, so a small mistake here. Then pushing the throttle still in third gear and then using all the track here on the exit. So again, this track will reward you if you cut a bit more into these chicanes. Also, notice that I'm using a 53.5 brake bias. So I'm using the fixed setup, but I changed the brake bias. If you'll use the default brake bias from the fixed setup, you will understeer into those chicanes, so I highly encourage you lowering your brake bias to 54, 55 at least. And if you're feeling confident, go to 53. And in short, that's it. Again, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. Looking forward to see you in the next one. Bye bye.